Normally, if it's Monday night, it's the Wrestling Forum, but for this Tuesday night only, oh yes, it is the Wrestling Forum. Hello, friends. It's Ridiculously Over Anthony Floyd here with you for this special Tuesday night edition of the Wrestling Forum. Delighted to be here as always. Delighted to have you with us as well. Um, Sorry for the slight delay. I was, of course, I was waiting for Michael Bullock to get back in from his outing. He now is. So we're all set and ready to rock and roll here. So just a couple of quick things. Our other panelists, of course, the Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher, not with us tonight. Work commitments as usual. You can check out his video of the Monday Night Raw recap on his channel, BrazeFan95, and he'll be back tomorrow night as he will have his recap of the Super Smackdown Live. He said he might do tribute to the troops, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So I am joined, as I just mentioned, I am joined by the aforementioned Phenom, Michael Bullock here. So you know what we're going to do here tonight. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to dive right in. We're going to recap last night's Monday Night Raw, the Slammy Awards, and, of course, the Super Smackdown Live. So without any further ado, let's dive right in. And we'll start, of course, with Monday Night Raw, which was the Slammy Awards. It was last night at the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And we started it off with an in-ring segment with Stephanie McMahon, interrupted by the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns. And all I can say is this was another fantastic segment. I mean, I loved the segment last week. I loved it just as much this week. I mean, excuse me. Stephanie McMahon, I got to tell you, she was on fire on this segment. She was slamming. That's all I can say right now. I mean, not only did she look great, but she absolutely sounded great too. I mean, that heel tone, the reason why I have loved this gal for so long is because of the fact that, you know, that $1 billion princess character, once she gets into that, good night. It's money every time. And she absolutely killed it. And Roman Reigns, you know, I loved it. I love what he did as well. I mean, they both came out great, but I thought Stephanie came out a little more better because of the heel characteristics. But Roman, you know, the crowd was playing up to Roman Reigns. I mean, I think he's finally got the crowd behind him now. I mean, I know there are some in the IWC who probably still don't like him, but you know, he's finally getting that love and support that WWE has been wanting for, you know, quite a while now. I mean, he wins the title in the same arena. He wins the Royal Rumble. We all remember in the Royal Rumble, he got booed out of the building. He wins the title here, and they damn near. I mean, it was damn near one of the biggest pops we've heard in a long time, and it was great. I think it's because of that little tweaking of the character they did, you know, the night before at TLC when he went on that rampage against Triple H. So, yeah, crowd was playing up to him. We're like, hey, they don't want me to leave. I'm going to stay. They don't want me to leave. Stephanie kept saying, get out, get out, get out, kept screaming at the top of her lungs. I mean, it was just pure gold. So, fantastic segment with Stephanie and Roman. I mean, their interactions the last 2 weeks have been absolutely, positively perfect. So, I'm not going to waste any more time on this. So with all that said, Phenom, Michael Bullock, Stephanie McMahon, Roman Reigns. We thought the segment last week was great. This week, I mean, wow, just as great, wouldn't you say? Michael Bullock, Phenom, it's all yours.
Yes, of course. Hello, friends. This is the Phenom, Mike Bullock here for another edition of the Wrestling Forum. Delighted to be here as always. Yeah, I mean, I thought this was a really good opening segment to start off Monday Night Raw. I mean, Stephanie McMahon. What can you say about her? She was that typical $1 billion princess that she is. I mean, she was in a good mood, and of course, all of a sudden, out comes Roman Reigns, and that's when Stephanie McMahon really started to. She started screeching. She started screaming, telling Roman Reigns to leave the ring, and then Reigns is like, you know what? I don't want to ruin your good mood, and she saying, you know what? I'm gonna leave the ring, and then Stephanie's like, you know what? Get back in the ring, and then, but he continued to leave the ring, and then Stephanie just kept screaming and calling him a coward, and she said, "You know what, Reigns? You're going to learn a lesson tonight, because the Usos will face the New Day in a 3-on-2 handicap match." And then said, "You know what? Also, Dean Ambrose will face Sheamus in a steel cage match." And she ended it with an emphatic, "There is going to be hell to pay." And all I can say is, wow, wow, wow. And Stephanie McMahon, tell us how you really feel. So, yeah, I mean, all I can say is, I mean, this segment here, I mean, this segment made it made last week's Stephanie McMahon segment look like an absolute dud. So, yeah, so this was a really good segment. So, yeah, so I really got nothing more to say. So, with that being said, Florio, I don't know how we're going to do this. Are we going to talk about the first Slammy?
Well, I think we're gonna have some. We're gonna have a few 2-for-1 deals here. A slam. We'll talk about the Slammy Award and then the subsequent match that followed it. So, in an effort to save time, so I think that's what we'll do.
All right.
Because we don't want to waste too much time. So,
Yeah.
So with that said, first of a few 2-for-1s here. They announced the first award of the night. It was Dolph Ziggler who came out and presented it. It was Breakout Star of the Year, and the winner ended up being Adrian Neville. Adrian Neville wins the Breakout Star of the Year. So so there's that. And then it led into what we had. It was a match with it was supposed to be a one-on-one match with Bray Wyatt and Kane. It got thrown out, and then it turned into an 8-man tag with the Wyatt family against Kane, the Dudley Boys, and Tommy Dreamer, with the Wyatt family going over. So so with all that said, Bullock, your thoughts on Adrian Neville winning the Breakout Star of the Year Slammy Award, as well as that whole thing with the Wyatt family, the Dudleys, Kane, and Tommy Dreamer. So Bullock, it's all yours.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Slammy for Breakout Star of the Year, you know what? I'm actually fine with Neville getting winning it, because I mean he really burst onto the scene, because remember at NXT he was coming off of a long reign as the NXT champion, and then he burst onto the scene on Monday Night Raw the night after WrestleMania, beats Curtis Axel, and then in his second match he challenged the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, and I really thought he was on the verge of winning the match, but of course authority shenanigans always seem to rule the roost. So yeah, so there's no way he didn't get the title, but his body of work, I mean, I thought has been really good. So even though of course in my honest opinion I think Kevin Owens should have won the Breakout Star of the Year, but I'm actually fine with Neville. So, and as far as the well, then of course after the presentation, of course Kevin Owens comes out, and then him and Ziggler get into a little brawl. So yeah, so and then as far as Kane and Bray Wyatt, I'm gonna rate this as an NA, because it was just too short for my liking and never really got going. So of course the Wyatt family then started attacking Kane, and then that's when we get the Dudley Boys and Tommy Dreamer to help save the day, and then we get an 8-man tag team match. Yeah, Florio, can you give me the time of the fall for the 8-man tag?
Sorry,
That
man.
is, if you have it.
Yeah, it's not listed for this one anyway.
Well, I'm on the 4011, and it says at 2 minutes and 46 seconds.
Yeah, that's about right. I think that's what Fletcher said during his review last night.
Yeah, once again, too short for my liking. I'm gonna give it maybe half to 1 star in my opinion. Like I said, just way too short for my liking. I mean, I really wanted to see more out of this, but yeah, I mean, I really have nothing more to say on this, so I'm fine with Neville as the Breakout Star of the Year. Kane and Bray Wyatt, that's an NA, and And of course, the 8-man tag is half to 1 star. So Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. Adrian Neville winning the Breakout Star. I mean, you can't make an argument for that. I mean, he had a great year. I mean, he didn't win any titles or anything. I mean, he was in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament where he lost to Barrett. But and then, of course, there were 2 times he went up against Seth Rollins. One was in a non-title match, and then the other, of course, in a title match, which he nearly won the title, which would have been epic if he had. I mean, that would have been unbelievable if he had won the belt, but no, that didn't happen. I mean, nothing personal against Adrian Neville. I love his body of work, but to me, slight disagreement. I honestly think Kevin Owens should have won the award, if I'm being honest. I mean, not just because of those great matches he had with John Cena. I mean, he beats John Cena in his first match. And then in September, he wins the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, beats Ryback, and held it for almost 3 months before he lost it to Ambrose at TLC. So, but to me, I mean, I'm fine with Neville. I mean, he was my second choice, honestly. But to me, I think Kevin Owens should have been the Breakout Star of the year. Just my opinion. So, and as far as the other stuff goes, the Wyatts and all that, Bray Wyatt against Kane, that's an NA. You could probably call that the worst fight of the night by default. And then the other match, I'm going to give it a solid 1 star for the effort. I thought it was some fine action. There was some okay, fine action, but it was pretty much way too short for the likings. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. So we're just going to move on. And, well, we had the first of a, we had there were a few surprises on this show, I will admit. And the first one was, hey, Santino Marella. Man, where in the world has he been all this time? I mean,
A son of a gun.
Yeah, Santino Marella. I guess they let him out of witness protection, I guess. So or maybe he's been living under a rock. I don't know, but good to see Santino back. I mean, it's been forever and a day since we've seen the Milan Miracle, but he's there. LOL moment of the year. The winner was R-Truth for thinking he was in the Money in the Bank ladder match when he really wasn't. I'm not even going to bother commenting on that because I have no place for campy comedy nonsense. So I'm just gonna move on to our to the next Slammy Award, which was the OMG Moment of the Year, and the winner of that was Kalisto of the Lucha Dragons, with Selena Del Sol on the Uso through the ladder at TLC. The R-Truth thing, like I said, I really didn't care for that. So, I mean, I know a lot of folks, there are some who actually like the campy comedy stuff, like Michael Fletcher, but me could honestly care less. So I'm not even going to move on. I'm not even going to dignify that. As far as the OMG moment goes, hey, more than fine with it. I mean, they got that one right. I mean, that was absolutely perfect. Kalisto winning that. I mean, absolutely perfect. I mean, that's that. I said it was the sickest spot I ever saw, and I'm glad I got recognized. Really. So that's all there is to say about that. Now we move on to our next match, which was Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler, and the winner of the match in 12 minutes and 5 seconds, it was Kevin Owens via the pop-up powerbomb. Tough to call, but I'm going to be honest with you. Michael Fletcher said this was his second best fight of the night. Well, I got to slightly disagree, with all due respect, with Fletch. I got to say by a smidge, this was the fight of the night. I'm going to give it a solid 3.25 stars, maybe teetering on 3.5. These two work so well together. I mean, their bodies of work are just both spot on. I mean, both are former Intercontinental Heavyweight Champions, and they definitely, the crowd was into it. I was into it. Bullock was into it, when we did our thing last night. But for me, I thought this was, by a smidge, the fight of the night. There was one other fight that was just as good, But I think this was just this fight here with Owens and Ziggler was just slightly better, not by much, but slightly. It's 3.25 to 3.5 stars. Good match, and I would have loved to have seen a title feud between these two. I mean, because they keep giving us some good matches. We'll take it, man. Simple. So with that said, Bullock, you don't have to comment on the LOL moment of the year because that's one of the things we usually don't really care about. I mean, you can if you want, but you don't have to. As far as
I'm not even gonna waste my time on that.
Yeah. So okay. So your thoughts on Kalisto winning the OMG Moment of the Year for the Salida del Sol on the Uso at TLC, and your thoughts on Owens and Ziggler. I already know what they are, but just elaborate with our viewers out there.
Yeah, as far as that OMG moment, I mean, I agree they got this one right. I mean, Kalisto with his finishing maneuver on the ladder. I mean, that was a sick move there when he put him right through the ladder and it broke. And I was doing my Joey Styles impersonation when it happened, and I mean, I was surprised that even that both men came out with no injury from this. So yeah, so I was really impressed with that. So yeah, as far as Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler, I agree that this was the fight of the night. I mean, I slightly disagree with Michael Fletcher as he calls it the second best fight of the night. I mean, the reason why we're giving this the fight of the night because it ended cleanly, and I mean the match was just so good. But I mean these two have a real good chemistry when they're in the ring together. So and it ended cleanly. I mean that's the reason why I'm giving this the fight of the night. And I mean if there were any shenanigans, I probably would have called it the second best fight of the night. But to me, this is the fight of the night. So I'm gonna give it maybe 3.25 stars for the. I mean, this was a well done match. Great job by both of them. So yeah, so I really got nothing more to say, Florio. So let's uh let's move on to what to actually the next Slammy, which is the most important one, Superstar of the Year.
Superstar of the Year. That was the next award. Stephanie McMahon was the presenter. Just to let you know, and it was Paul Heyman who presented the OMG Moment, where Santino was with the other award. Just wanted to make sure you knew who the presenters were. Um, all the superstars were nominated, obviously, first time ever. But when all was said and done, the winner of the WWE Superstar of the Year 2015 Slammy was Seth Rollins. Yes, Seth Rollins, the winner of the Superstar of the Year. And then following that, we had the United States Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio, one-on-one with Jack Swagger, and Alberto Del Rio went over. He defeats Jack Swagger in 7 minutes and 10 seconds via his new finishing maneuver, which I call the Warrior's Way, a la Senshi from TN, Senshi, Loki, Cabal. That's how I consider it. So Bullock, Seth Rollins, the Superstar of the Year. Your thoughts on that, and of course your thoughts on Del Rio and Swagger's 7 minute and 10 second match.
Yeah, I mean, to me, no surprise, they got this one right. I mean, what can you say? What a year for Seth Rollins. Of course, it all started. I mean, of course, with that, of course, cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase at WrestleMania, becoming the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and he's had a good run with the title before the injury that he suffered. I mean, look at the names he's beaten. I mean, he's beaten, of course, Randy Orton back at Backlash, and then of course, trying to, in a fatal four-way against Ambrose, Reigns, and Orton at Payback, And then, of course, beating Dean Ambrose twice, of course, once at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, and the other time was, of course, at Money in the Bank, and then, of course, beating Brock Lesnar, even though it was a cop-out finish thanks to The Undertaker. And then, of course, SummerSlam, he beat John Cena to win the United States Championship. And so, yeah, I mean, of course, beating Demon Kane at Hell in a Cell. So, certainly was one heck of a 2015 for Seth Rollins. And that was until he had that torn ace, or should I say that knee injury. So, yeah, so what can we expect from him in 2016? Well, he's going to start the year still on the shelf, but I'll tell you what, when he does get back, I think he's going to be better than ever. So I really like this. And as far as the Swagger and Del Rio match, you know what? I'm going to give this maybe about 1.5 to 2 stars for the effort. I mean, yeah, it was another short match, but I mean, I thought the match was fine for what it was, and of course, yeah, I like that new finishing maneuver of Del Rio. I mean, I really like it. But then, of course, after the match, the League of Nations basically, well, started attacking him, and then, of course, Sheamus hitting the Brogue Kick on Jack Swagger. So, yeah, so Superstar of the Year, they got this one right. And as far as this match goes, 1.5 to 2 stars. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. As far as Seth Rollins winning Superstar of the Year, 100% got that right. I mean, after what happened last year, last year was absolutely horrific. I mean, how in God's name they gave it to Roman Reigns when he totally did not deserve it last year. Last year, it should have been Brock Lesnar, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, because of the year he had, ending the streak at WrestleMania 30, and of course, winning the title at SummerSlam, and pretty much going from there. And of course, that destruction of the Big Show at the Royal Rumble. As far as this year is concerned, no controversy. They got this one right. It was Seth Rollins. I mean, Rollins deserved it more than anybody. I mean, you even could have made an argument for John Cena, even because what he did for the United States Heavyweight Championship. Bringing that title back to prominence after it was a joke title for so long. I mean, when they had Cena win that at WrestleMania, taking that off of Rusev, and in those awesome United States Heavyweight Championship Open challenges, which were just out of this world. With only like a couple of them were meh, but darn near all of them were yowza. That's all there was to it. They were that good. Rollins, of course, that epic performance in that epic triple threat match at the Royal Rumble. And then, of course, cashing in Money in the Bank at Mania. Got to correct you on a couple things, Bullock. When he beat Randy Orton, did I hear you say Backlash? They don't do Backlash anymore. I think you meant Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules. Extreme Rules. Yep. Botchamania on my part.
Yeah, I'm like, Backlash?
Yeah, long night for me.
I know. It's been same for me too. But no. Extreme Rules. That's what you were thinking in Chicago.
Yeah, it's Extreme Rules. That's what it was.
In the steel cage. And then, of course, the 4-way at Payback, which saw that like 30-second Shield reunion, which was epic. And then the rivalry with Dean Ambrose, Elimination Chamber, that one-on-one match, and then that epic 5-star ladder match at Money in the Bank, and then, of course, Lesnar at Battleground. That didn't really amount to anything. Disappointing as far as I was concerned. And then SummerSlam, winning the United States Heavyweight Championship from John Cena because of Jon Stewart. And I'm surprised you didn't mention this, Bullock. What about Night of Champions when he beat Sting? How can you forget that? I mean, but yeah, he beat the Stinger. He beat the Icon, the Vigilante. Maybe even retired him because of that bump that messed up Sting's neck. And then of course he beat Kane at Hell in a Cell, and he held it for over 200 days, like 200, somewhere between 210 and 220, somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, it was like 7.5 months he held the belt, and then that unfortunate turn of events, Dublin, Ireland, that house show match against Kane, jacks up his knee, and see ya, bye. What a shame. But not only was it great to have Rollins win that award, how great was it to see him? I mean, I thought there was a slight chance he was gonna be there, but there he was, hobbling on the crutches. I mean, you can't blame him. I mean, but yeah, that crowd was very receptive for him, and you can't blame them because he is an IWC darling. Everybody knows that, and rightfully so, because he can go. He can go. And he's had some great matches, and I can't wait to see him back. It'll probably be sometime around the spring or the summer of 2016. So congratulations, Seth Rollins, Superstar of the Year. Second time in 3 years they got it right, because 2013, as we all know, that was Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan deserved that award in 2013, most definitely. They totally got that right. And then this time around, it was Rollins. Complete turnaround from that disaster of last year. I mean, Roman did not deserve it whatsoever. Should have been Lesnar, but at least they got it right this year with Rollins. So that's good. Del Rio and Swagger. What did you rate that, Bullock? You said what did you give that? Like 1.5 to 2? You said. Yeah, that's about right. I could even maybe go as far as 2.25, honestly, because it was a solid match. I still think the chairs match from TLC was a smidge better, but solid match. I mean, they haven't had anything earth shattering, but they've had solid matches. But then of course, Del Rio going over with the what I call that Warrior's Way finisher. I mean, Bullock I'm sure remembers Caval from a number of years ago when he won NXT. He used to come out with Lay Cool. You all remember him. He had that failed run in the WWE, but he was epic in TNA when he was Low Key or Senshi. He had that double foot stomp called the Warrior's Way, and that's exactly what Alberto Del Rio's doing. To be quite honest, I mean, it's a good move, but honestly, I like his cross arm better, if I'm being honest. So, because that was more of his own identity. The move he's doing now is a move I've seen from numerous superstars, most notably, of course, Senshi / Low Key / Caval. So, just being real with you folks. So, 1.5 to 2, maybe even 2.25, as far as that Del Rio Swagger goes. Next Slammy Award was the Hero in All of Us Award. The winner of that was John Cena. It was Mark Henry who presented it. So yeah. Excuse me. So Hero in All of Us Award, that was John Cena. That's not a big surprise. I mean, with everything he's done, especially for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, I mean, he's granted more wishes for that charity than any other since that wonderful organization started way back when. So that's not a big surprise at all. And then we had some nonsense here. They had said Santa Claus was going to present the surprise Return of the Year award. It wasn't Santa Claus. It was, of course, Bo Dallas. So yeah. Surprise Return of the Year. The winner of that was Sting, the night after SummerSlam, when he confronted Seth Rollins and the Authority. We thought we were going to get the Rollins statue, but then Sting showed up, and that pretty much started the build for the Night of Champions fight. So, honestly, I think they kind of got this one wrong a little bit. As far as the surprise Return of the Year goes, right night, wrong return. It should have been those damn Dudleys. That's who it should have been. Bullock and I remember this like it was yesterday. The pop that those guys got when they showed up. How could you have not given it to them? But I mean, like I said, nothing against the Stinger. I mean, that was an epic moment too. I mean, that's why those were two of the reasons why that Monday Night Raw in Brooklyn was one of the best Raws of 2015, bar none. But honestly, if you're going to give that award to anybody, it should have been the Dudleys when they showed up. So, Hero in All of Us award, totally fine with it. John Cena deserves that more than anybody. And then Sting with the surprise return of the year. No. Should have been the Dudleys, just my opinion. And then it led into our next match, which was the 3-on-2 handicap match, the New Day against the Usos. The Usos win the match in 11 minutes, even, thanks to the dreaded roll-up of doom. So I'll say third best fight of the night. I'm going to give it between 2.5 and 3 stars. I mean, very good match. It was a better than expected match. I mean, I didn't really have any high hopes going in, but live crowd got up for it, and they loved it. I loved it. I mean, they were into the New Day's antics, rallied behind the Usos during what was, I thought, a very good television match. So yeah, John Cena wins Hero of the Hero in All of Us award. Totally got it right. Surprise return of the year. I slight disagreement. Should have been the Dudley Boys. And then as far as the Usos and the New Day, 2.5 to 3 stars. So Bullock, I know it's a lot to take in, but your thoughts on John Cena winning Hero in All of Us award, Sting's surprise return, and the Usos New Day 3-on-2 handicap. So Bullock, all that's yours. What do you think? Bullock. All right. We're just gonna move on. Excuse me for a moment. So excuse me. So yeah. So that was an 11-minute moment. So following that, we had just give me a minute. Excuse me. So with that said, we're just moving on to Bullock, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thought I lost you for a moment. So
I'm right here.
Okay. John Cena winning the Hero in All of Us award. Sting surprise return, and the Usos and the New Day 3-on-2 handicap match. It was 11 minutes even, by the way. So your thoughts on all that?
Yeah. As far as the Slammy for the Hero in All of Us. No surprise that John Cena was going to get it because of the work he's done with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is a great organization, which what he's done and all the other things he's done in the community. So no surprise with all that. And then of course when it comes to the surprise return, no surprise, of course, with Sting. I mean, returning, of course, the night after SummerSlam and appearing in that in the statue, or what was supposed to be the statue for Seth Rollins. Because I mean, here we were thinking we were going to see Sting again for a while. I mean, especially after the matchup with Sting and Triple H back at WrestleMania, but yet we see him again, and which ultimately led to Sting and Seth Rollins at Night of Champions. So yeah, so I'm not surprised with that. So, and as far as the match goes, I'm gonna say probably about 2.5 to. I'm gonna say an even 3 stars as my rating for the match. I mean, I thought it was a fine 3-on-2 handicap match. So yeah, so you pretty much touched on it, Florio. So let's move on to our next Slammy and next match.
Yeah. Next up, it was R-Truth presenting the Diva of the Year. Initially, it was Paige who won it, but then, in a complete mockery of the Steve Harvey Miss Universe flub, they say, no, Paige, you didn't win the award. The real winner is Nikki Bella. So Nikki Bella is the 2015 WWE Diva of the Year. And Jason Powell of ProWrestling.net asked a simple question: how can I vote for Bayley? Yeah, you certainly can't make an argument about Bayley, but and then from there, it led into another match. Rusev.
I think it's because she's still in NXT and not on the main roster.
Yeah, that's true. But we at the Wrestling Forum, we're going to be more open to that. So
especially when we have our version of our award show next week.
You got that right. But Nikki Bella was the WWE Diva of the Year, and then it led into a match. Rusev, along with his cohorts of the League of Nations, one-on-one with Adrian Neville. Rusev wins the match in 8 minutes and 10 seconds. So Bullock, Nikki Bella winning the Diva of the Year, and the match with Rusev and Adrian Neville. Your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, there's no surprise. I mean, they got this one right with Nikki Bella winning the Diva of the Year. I mean, it's simple. I mean, with that long reign as the Divas champion, of course, breaking the record of AJ Lee, and she had a really good run as the Divas champ, even though to us it was too long of a run. But I mean, all the things she's done since then is just unreal, especially breaking that record. So yeah, as far as the match goes, I'm gonna say 2.25, 2.5 stars is my rating for the match. I thought the match was fine for what it was. When it comes to this, I mean, the action was fine between the two of them, and yeah, of course, Rusev gets the win via the accolade. And then, of course, the League of Nations beats the crap out of Neville. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on when it comes to these beatdowns that the League of Nations has done. So, yeah, so the Slammy Award for Diva of the Year, Nikki Bella, got this one right, and I'm gonna say actually I'm gonna say 2.25 stars is my rating for the. Well, 2 to 2.25 is, so I stand corrected on it. 2 to 2.25 is my rating for the match. So Florio, I give it to you.
Yeah, Nikki Bella winning Diva of the Year. You may not like her, but they got it right. I mean, held that Divas title longer than anybody. I mean, totally dominated and everything else. So easily could have made an argument for Charlotte, but honestly, Nikki Bella was the right choice to go over. 301 days as the Divas champion, a run that started at last year's Survivor Series when she went over AJ Lee, and then, of course, held it all the way to Night of Champions before when she lost it to Charlotte. So that's pretty much all there is to say on that. So Nikki Bella deserved that. Rusev and Neville, 2 to 2.25 stars. I agree with Bullock's rating. I mean, solid match. Just an awkward finish, though. I mean, the camera focused on Neville on the top rope, so we didn't see what Rusev was doing. So it looked strange when he took that long and still leapt, even though Rusev was on his feet by then. So despite the awkward finish, Rusev gets the win. So yeah, 2 to 2.25 stars despite that. So Move on to our next award. It was The Miz who presented the This Is Awesome Moment of the Year award. And the winner of that was The Rock and Ronda Rousey for WrestleMania when they had that confrontation with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Totally got that one right. I mean, you could have easily made an argument for all of them, honestly. But there was just something about that Rock and Ronda Rousey moment at WrestleMania. One of the many reasons why this WrestleMania was just absolutely unbelievable. And why, to me, it's now the second greatest WrestleMania of all time. Only, of course, behind last year's 30. I mean, but just absolutely fantastic. That was just such an epic moment. And it led to a lot of speculation saying, oh, The Rock and Triple H are going to fight at WrestleMania. Maybe we could see someone with Stephanie McMahon and Ronda Rousey. But it'll just depend on Ronda Rousey's UFC commitments, obviously. And, of course, movie commitments, too, because, you know, she does movies, too. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So any one of those nominees for the This Is Awesome Moment of the Year, I would have been fine with. But I think the one that was ultimately chosen as the winner, I think that deserved it more, just a smidge. So Rock and Ronda, no problem at all. And then it led into a match. Becky Lynch with Charlotte Flair in her corner going up against Brie Bella. Becky Lynch defeats Brie Bella 5 minutes and 15 seconds via the disarmer. So about 1.5 to 2 stars. You could make an argument that it was a typical ho-hum diva fight, but you know it was a pretty straightforward match with Lynch winning without outside interference. So yeah, solid, fine match. Fine for what it was. So that pretty much is all I can say on that. So Bullock, Rock and Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania, winning the This Is Awesome Moment of the Year award. And then Becky Lynch over Brie Bella in 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Where have we heard that before? I wonder.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, as far as the This Is Awesome Moment of the Year, I do agree they got this one right with The Rock and Ronda Rousey face to face with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. I mean, and like you said, that was one of the reasons why this WrestleMania 31 was the second greatest, and why we gave it a 9.5 out of 10. And we were watching that segment, and all of a sudden you hear The Rock's music, and we were all like, "What?" And then all of a sudden, it looked like The Rock was gonna leave, but he brings in Ronda Rousey, and The Rock beats the crap out of Triple H. And then Ronda Rousey looked like he was gonna break the arm of Stephanie McMahon, or she was gonna break it, but because that's how much of a badass fighter she is. I mean, yeah, so they definitely got this one right. As far as the match with excuse me, Becky Lynch and Brie, yeah, Becky Lynch and Brie Bella. I do agree. It is a 1.5, 2-star match. I mean, the match was fine for what it was, so not really going to get into any more on it. So you pretty much touched on it. So with that being said, Florio, let's move on to our final Slammy of the night, and then of course the main event.
Yeah. Final award of the night. It was presented by the Nature Boy Ric Flair. It was the match of the year, and the winner of that was the Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar from the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And then it led into the main event, steel cage match, Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Dean Ambrose versus Sheamus, accompanied by the League of Nations. Winner of the match in 11 minutes and 45 seconds, it was the Lunatic Fringe and Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Dean Ambrose escaping the cage. So Bullock, your thoughts on the match of the year award winner, which was Taker and Lesnar from Hell in a Cell, inside Hell in a Cell, and of course the Ambrose and Sheamus cage match main event. Your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the for match of the year, I mean, you know what? I'm fine with this being the well, actually, you know what? I'm actually going to disagree with that. I mean, to me, uh, the match of the year to me should be Kevin Owens and John Cena from from Elimination Chamber, because that was just an awesome match. And also the other reason why was because, I mean, Kevin Owens pulled off the upset and beat John Cena, because Kevin Owens at the time was the NXT champion and he was still fighting at NXT. So that was one of the reasons why, to me, that was the match of the year. I mean, I think to me a close second should be uh, John Cena and Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins triple threat for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble. So yeah, so to me, like I said, John Cena, Kevin Owens from Elimination Chamber, that should be, to me, should have been the match of the year. Um, and as far as the main event goes, yeah, to me, excuse me, I'm gonna say this was the second best fight of the night to me. What was the time of the fall, Florio?
I believe I said it was 11 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna say about uh 3 to 3.25 stars is my rating for the match. I mean, I could have given it maybe just a little more, but of course, we had a little interference from the League of Nations. And then, of course, you had Roman Reigns coming in and starting to beat the crap out of the rest of the League of Nations. So, yeah. So there's really nothing else for me to say. I mean, John Cena, Kevin Owens, to me, should have gotten the match of the year, and 3 to 3.25 stars is the rating for the main event. So, Florio, I give it to you.
Yeah, I agree. Even though Taker and Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell was great, when it comes to the matches that were nominated, Cena and Owens probably should have won it. Although you could have made an argument for that triple threat at the Royal Rumble as well. To me, the real match of the year, I could honestly make the argument that it should be Sasha Banks and Bayley from NXT Takeover Brooklyn, because we all know how epic that thing was. I mean, that's just honestly how I feel about it. But I'm not at all surprised that they went this way. I mean, we all know how much of their awards are damn near popularity contests anyway. So nothing left to say on that. As far as the main event goes, yeah, second best fight of the night. 3 to 3.25 stars is the rating on that. I mean, there was some. I mean, it started slow, but then you had some great action, and it picked up throughout. And it definitely had a bit of some Shakespearean drama element as well, a little bit of that, especially towards the end with both men outside the cage and whatnot, waiting for one to drop and whatnot. But there was a lot of shenanigans, League of Nations shenanigans, Roman Reigns shenanigans. So that pretty much was the killer there. But other than that, very good match. 3 to 3.25 stars. So that's it. So a brief overall review of the show. Between 6 and 7 out of 10 is my overall rating. I mean, Kevin Owens, Dolph Ziggler by a smidge, the fight of the night, 3.25 to 3.5. 3 to 3.25 for the second best fight of the night, which was Ambrose and Sheamus. And then rounding out the top three, that 3-on-2 handicap match with the Usos and the New Day, 2.5 to 3 there. But all the other matches, were either solid or okay. And some of the Slammies they got right. A couple of them I disagree with, but your typical Slammy Award show. You had some campy comedy nonsense moments, but other than that, solid show. A little step back from last week. I mean, last week was epic in Philadelphia. This time around in Minneapolis, solid but not overly spectacular show. So 6 to 7 out of 10. And of course, next Monday night on Raw, the final Raw of the year, the Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, we all know that's going to be epic, and it's going to mark the return of the one and only John Cena when John Cena comes back and goes one-on-one with United States Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio, which I think is going to be a very likely contender for Fight of the Night, if I'm going to be honest with you, because those two have had some damn good matches in the past. So, and I have a good feeling they're going to deliver another one in Brooklyn next Monday night. So, 6 to 7 out of 10. So, Michael Bullock, your overall thoughts on this Slammy Award edition of Raw before we move on to Super SmackDown Live.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 6 to 7 out of 10. I mean, I thought it was solid, but unspectacular when it comes to this. I mean, yeah, you pretty much touched on everything regarding Fight of the Night and worst Fight of the Night. So, yeah, I'm not gonna waste any more time. So, let's move on to our review of Super SmackDown Live.
Yes, and Super SmackDown Live was live from the excuse me. It was live from the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa. And one interesting note, Michael Cole sat in for Rich Brennan. So we had Michael Cole, Jerry the King Lawler, and Booker T on the commentary for that. So that said, let's start it off. And hey, what a way to start it off with the first of 2 championship matches tonight. We had the New Day going up against the Lucha Dragons for the WWE Tag Team Championship. And the winners of the match in 13 minutes and 5 seconds. And still the WWE Tag Team Champions, the New Day, via a big ending from Biggie Langston on Sin Cara. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this tag team? Well, yeah. You started off since I led off the overall review. So Michael Bullock, your thoughts on the New Day over the Luchas, 13 minutes and 5 seconds for the Tag Team Championship. And I believe you had this one. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, well, first off, I'm going to say this was a really good match to start off this Super SmackDown Live. Yeah, I'm actually going to give this 3.25 stars to 3.25. I'll actually say 3.25 to 3.5. I mean, this was a very good tag team title match. I mean, the action was really good. Of course, you had all the high-flying action from the Luchas, and but yeah, of course, once again, the New Day, of course, regaining the tag team titles, of course, with the big ending. And yes, I did call this one because when Florio and we were doing our, as I usually like driving him in, Florio, he did make this this bold prediction, and he said that the Luchas were going to become the new tag team champions. But remember, leading up to this, the Luchas had owned the New Day, and of course, you know how we like to go with the usual booking 101. And that's where I went with it. I said, sorry, Florio, but I think the New Day is going to retain the tag team titles. And lo and behold, I was correct. So the New Day continues their run as tag team champions. So what's up next for them? We're just going to have to wait and find out. So 3.25, 3.5 stars is my rating for the match. Florio, I give it to you.
Slight disagreement with the rating, not a whole lot. I'm going to give you between 3 to 3.25 stars. It's definitely one of the top fights of the night. I give you that, but I think 3.25 to 3.5 is just a smidge over, but that's okay. I'm not gonna rip you for that. 3 to 3.25 stars, I feel, is the more appropriate rating for the fight. I mean, yes, it was a very good match. Yes, we had some good near falls. Yes, there was that little bit of Shakespearean drama in there, but I'll give it to Bullock. I mean, Bullock had this one. I mean, he had a feeling about the New Day going over. I should have thought the same way. I thought because of the fact that the Luchas were constantly going over New Day in non-title matches, and considering that it was a live Super SmackDown special, I figured, hey, maybe there was a chance. But oh well, joke's on me, I guess. You want to know what's next for the New Day, Bullock? I'm thinking possibly the Usos now. Because why do I have this weird feeling that they're going to want to have Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and the Usos all as with all the gold. Like we've seen with some of these stables before. I mean, remember Revolution? We talked about that during one of our drives, man. We talked about that. When Triple H, Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Dave Batista were all champions at the same time 12 years ago, back in 2003 at the Armageddon, which you said you watched back recently. Solid show, but not overly spectacular. But yeah, I mean, I'll give you that. So 3 to 3.25 stars. It's one of the fights of the night for sure, no doubt about it. So with that said, we're just going to move on to our next match. It was an 8-man tag team match. It was the Wyatt family going up against the Dudley Boys, Kane, and Ryback, not Tommy Dreamer. So very surprising. Winners of the match in 16 minutes and 10 seconds. It was the Wyatt family. Another one of the fights of the night. This was really good. This, I feel, should be 3.25 to 3.5 stars. I mean, this was a very good 8-man tag team match. I mean, I know there are some people who are saying, has anyone else reached the point of feeling like the Dudleys should just give up their quest of beating the Wyatts in an 8-man tag? They could keep it more interesting if they gave maybe Bubba some mic time and let him talk about how they're not going to stop until they finally go over. They could have done that, but 16 minutes and 10 seconds for an 8-man tag. I mean, you know, it doesn't happen that often, but from what I saw, I mean, I felt it was a really good match. You can make an argument that this was the fight of the night, but honestly, I don't really think it was the fight of the night. I mean, because there was one match in particular that I thought was the fight of the night, really, for me. But I could probably say this was the second best fight of the night, honestly. And I'll probably go as far as to say the tag title match was the third best fight of the night. So I'm going to say second best fight of the night. Give it between 3.25 to 3.5 stars. So that's pretty much how I feel about it. I don't know what's next for the Wyatts, but we'll have to wait and see. So, Michael Bullock, the Wyatts against those damn Dudleys, Kane, and the big guy, Ryback. Your thoughts on this 8-man, 16 minutes and 10 seconds worth? Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, forgot to unmute my mic there. Yeah, I'm gonna say 3.25. I mean, 3.25 to 3.5 stars. I mean, I was surprised that this match got a certain amount of time. But yeah, once again, the Wyatts basically dominate the Dudleys. The Dudleys and Kane, of course, with Ryback into the mix. So yeah, so you pretty much touched on everything, Florio. So that being said, let's move on to the next match on our Super Smackdown Live.
Yeah, we had Rusev and the United States Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio going up against the Usos, Sheamus. Well, of course, King Barrett and Sheamus, of course, in the corner of Rusev and Alberto Del Rio when they fought the Usos. Winners of the match in 10 minutes and 25 seconds, Alberto Del Rio and Rusev via Del Rio's double foot stomp, the Warrior's Way, as I call it. So Bullock, your thoughts on Del Rio and Rusev against the Usos? 10 minutes and 25 seconds, time of the fall.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it maybe 2.5 to somewhere between 2.5 to 3 stars is my rating. Even though I'm leaning more, it's 2.5 to 2.75. I mean, the match I thought was good for what it was. I mean, basically, I mean the action was spot on. I mean, there was some, yeah, and of course. And of course, Del Rio getting the victory for the team with that, the Warriors Way, and then of course after the match, of course, the rest of the League of Nations attacked the Usos, and then of course we have Roman Reigns coming out and cleaning house, and then delivering a Superman punch to Del Rio, and then of course for Rusev. So yeah, so fine match for what it was. 2.5 to 3 stars. is my rating for the match. So, Florio, I give it to you.
Yeah, I think you hit this one on the head, Bullock. 2.5 to 3 stars, my rating as well. I mean, solid tag team match. I could probably say fourth best fight of the night, honestly. It was another good match, solid match for what it was. Some good action throughout. Bullock, you pretty much touched on everything. So, and Del Rio again winning with that Warriors Way move that I call it. So yeah, the League of Nations, Roman Reigns, the Usos, Ambrose, that's not going away anytime soon, honestly. So yeah, another good match in this series of matches between the League of Nations and Roman Reigns' family, if you will. So yeah, 2.5 to 3 stars. I agree with you, Bullock. Fourth best fight of the night. So now we're gonna move on to a six-man tag team match. Well, actually, it was a tag team match rather. Adrian Neville and Titus O'Neil, accompanied by Santino Marella, going up against the Ascension, accompanied by Stardust. Winners of the match in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Adrian Neville and Titus O'Neil via a red arrow by Adrian Neville on Victor. By a smidge, this was the worst fight of the night. 1 to 1.5 stars is my rating. I mean, there was definitely some campy comedy nonsense here. I mean, but Santino, obviously. So I just wish they would have given. I wish we could have had more time to set this thing up, honestly. But yeah, a randomly thrown together match. It was okay, but it was not overly anything special. So just your usual filler content here. So 1 to 1.5 stars by a smidge, the worst fight of the night. So Bullock, Adrian Neville, and Titus O'Neil against the Ascension. 3 minutes and 10 seconds, the time of the fall. So Bullock, your thoughts on this filler fight?
Yeah, 1.5. 1 to 1.5 stars is my rating. So, yeah, I'm not even gonna waste any more time on this campy comedy nonsense. So let's just move on, Florio.
All right, and we're gonna move on to a Divas match. The WWE Divas champion Charlotte, going one-on-one with Brie Bella. Becky Lynch was on commentary. And the winner of the match in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it was Charlotte via the figure 8. Despite Becky Lynch getting embarrassed and humiliated by Team Bads, so or as I call them, the female version of the New Day. So Bullock, Charlotte over Brie Bella, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Your thoughts on this Diva fight?
Yeah, too short. Another match too short for my liking. I'm gonna say about the same thing. 1 to 1.5 stars is my rating for the match here. So yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I'm just yeah. I mean they said the like I said, the match was good for what it was. I mean, it really wasn't anything special when it comes to that. I mean, yeah. So I mean, Charlotte continues to impress as the Divas champion. So yeah. So really got nothing more to say on it. So 1 to 1.5 stars. Florio, I give it to you.
What did you rate that? 1 to 1.5?
1 to 1.5.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, same thing with me. I could probably say 1.25 to 1.5. Say it was the second worst fight of the night. It kind of felt like a typical ho-hum diva fight, in all honesty. The Team Bad interference, I thought, was a little too much. It was a little over the top. And then, I'm starting to sour on them a little bit, obviously, because, they're starting to act like the New Day, which is, it's one thing when you have one over-the-top faction, but when you have two over-the-top factions, yeah, that's a little too much. And some more silliness there, and they embarrass and humiliate Becky Lynch, and then of course Charlotte, just ignores her and goes for the win, obviously. So don't worry, folks. The Charlotte and Becky implosion is coming, and it's coming soon enough. Believe that. And I think it's finally gonna culminate at the Royal Rumble when they finally score off for the Divas Championship. That's just my thoughts on that. And oh, by the way, Charlotte's father, Ric Flair, will be in attendance. He's going to be in Brooklyn for that final Monday Night Raw of the year on Monday night. So there's something to look forward to right there, wouldn't you say? So with that said, 1.25 to 1.5, second worst fight of the night. So now we move on to the main event. Triple threat match for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. Dean Ambrose defending against both Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler. Winner of the match in 13 minutes and 30 seconds, and still the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose. Fight of the night. It's as simple as that. 3.5 to 4 stars. This was a fantastic and entertaining main event. But man, when Ambrose came down, vicious landing for Ambrose. He landed on his head and then his neck bent awkwardly. Hopefully he's okay once the adrenaline from the match wears off. But a very entertaining main event to close out what I thought was a very good Super Smackdown Live and one of the best Christmas-themed shows you'll see from the WWE. I guess they got most of that zaniness out of the system via the Slammy Awards, as always. So yeah, a very entertaining and very good main event, Shakespearean drama. So great action throughout. I'm not at all surprised that Ambrose went over. So don't know what's next, but we got a lot of time before the Royal Rumble to figure that all out. So fight of the night, 3.5 to 4 stars. Bullock, your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah. What did you rate it, Florio?
3.5 to 4.
Yeah. I do agree. Fight of the night, 3.5 to 4 stars. What can you say? The Shakespearean drama was there. The action was spot on. Great job by both men. Yeah, so really got nothing more to say except let's move on to our overall thoughts on this edition of Super Smackdown Live.
And you started off, Bullock. How did you feel about this show? I thought it was a really good show. I'm not sure about you.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good show too. I'm gonna say probably I'm gonna go probably 8 to 8.5 out of 10 is my rating for this edition of SmackDown. You had some really good matches, of course. The fight of the night being, of course, that triple threat Intercontinental title match. The tag team title match I thought was good as well, and the 8-man tag I thought was really good as well. And that other tag team match with Del Rio and Rusev against the Usos I thought was good, but it was just those two matches before the Intercontinental title match which were too short for our likings, really took away some of it. So 8 to 8.5 out of 10. So a very good live edition of Super Smackdown. So Florio, I give it to you.
Yeah, I agree with you. 8 to 8.5 out of 10, most definitely. All the matches delivered. Fight of the night, definitely the main event. A triple threat for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. Ambrose, Owens, and Ziggler. 3.5 to 4. Second best fight of the night, the 8-man with the Wyatts against Kane, the Dudleys, and Ryback. 3.25 to 3.5. And then top 3 rounds out with the tag team titles with the Usos or I should say with the Lucha Dragons, rather, the Luchas and the New Day. 3 to 3.25 for that. And then you throw in a a halfway decent tag team match with Alberto Del Rio and Rusev against the Usos. That was a solid 2.5 to 3 there. And then you had to throw in those 2 filler matches. Fifth best fight of the night, Charlotte and Brie Bella 1.25 to 1.5, and then rounding out as the worst fight of the night, 1 to 1.25. I'm going to make that the rating for Adrian Neville and Titus O'Neil against the Ascension. You take those two matches away and you give us like maybe one more quality match, we could have been looking at it like a 9 to 9.5, maybe even a perfect 10. But honestly, this was a very good Super SmackDown Live. Yeah, you had a little campy comedy, but not as much as the night before at the Slammy Awards. So yeah, 8 to 8.5 out of 10. Bullock, you nailed it on the head. So, all right, that's gonna just about put the bow on this special Tuesday night edition of the Wrestling Forum. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, we're going to do our brief shout-outs here. So, Michael Bullock, your brief shout-outs real quick.
Yes, of course, we want to thank you all for tuning in for this special Tuesday night edition of the Wrestling Forum. Of course, shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's this or Strictly Sports. It doesn't matter. So, yeah, of course, shout out to our super fans, Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh. Shout outs to all of our friends from our high school days, Al Bredderson, Jimmy Alden, Rob Parsons, Eric Carrier, Tom Souza, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Megan Silva, the First Lady of Strictly Sports, Kaiser Butler, to the Hardcore Pipebound, Derek Ferrero, for his continued success on the sportsblog.com. And of course, to Michael Fletcher, who couldn't be with us because of work commitments. So, I don't know, Florio, are we going to do like shout outs to our news personalities? Because I don't know if we're going to have a show, definitely not on Christmas Day, but at some point.
It's actually Saturday night, Bullock. I was getting
all right, so Saturday night. So I'll just say the rest of it. But before I go, I mean, this is our last show we're doing before the Christmas holiday. I just want to make something brief here. Of course, Christmas, as we say, is the most beautiful holiday of the year. Of course, Thanksgiving is right behind it. I mean, of course, Christmas is, of course, celebrating the birth of Jesus, and it's also about other things. I mean, it's not just about the dinner and the presents and all the other things. It's about spending time with family, and I know we're all going to be with our families on Christmas Day. I know Florio is going to be spending it with his family, me with my family, and I just want to say I hope that all of you have a very Merry Christmas, and of course, stay safe out there. Don't do anything stupid that's going to have you end up being in the Noggin Diva category. So that's pretty much all I want to say. So from all of us here at the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports, we want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. So until Saturday night so I'll say the rest of my shout Saturday night for Strictly Sports NFL Saturday, which will be. So until then, this is the Phenom Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for listening to us. And of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now. And from all of us here at the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports, we want to wish you and your families a very Merry Christmas. Florio, I give it to you. Take us home, man.
Will. Yeah, well said, man. Well said. Of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports as over as it is. Over 100 views for Michael Fletcher's Raw review last night on his Braves Fan 95 channel. So very, I know that means the world to him. So, and we're definitely happy for him that he got so many views on his review last night. He should be back tonight for his thoughts on Super SmackDown Live. He might do a Tribute to the Troops recap. We're not really going to do that because, Tribute to the Troops is, that's really a show you can't really do any ratings on, really, if I'm going to be honest with you. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So, of course, that's tomorrow night. But, of course, a special shout out to all of our, like I said, all our tremendous fans and viewers out there. And, of course, our super fans, Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the entire Woodson family. Matt Ward, Jason Hickson-Bond, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, Megan Silva, Kaiser Butler, and of course, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Alvarez, and Rob Parsons. And last but not least, our two partners in crime, the Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher, who couldn't be with us tonight because of work commitments, and of course, the Hardcore Pipe Bomb, Derek Ferreira. I mean, we miss him here around here. Sports Block continues to be the rage, and he's doing a lot of great things. So, wish him continued success with that. And I'll say the rest of my shout-outs for Saturday night now. Normally, we do NFL Friday, but since Friday is Christmas, obviously, there will be no NFL Friday on Friday night. However, the show has been pushed back to the following night, Saturday night, the 26th. So mark it down. This Saturday night, Strictly Sports, NFL Saturday. Hopefully we can work out a time. I'm sure Bo's probably going to be busy like he usually is, and I'm sure the same probably be the same for Fletcher too. But hopefully we can work something out, and as soon as we have something, we'll definitely pass that information along to you folks. So that's the next time we'll see you. We'll see you Saturday night for the brief return, I guess you could say, of NFL Saturday. So, and then, of course, Monday night, the Wrestling Forum. We'll review Monday Night Raw. And then next Tuesday night, another special Tuesday night edition of the Wrestling Forum, our Wrestling Forum Awards, and, of course, our year in review. And that's pretty much the content for this week going forward. So that's pretty much all I can say there. And before we wrap up, of course, like Bullock said, this is our last show before the Christmas holidays. So, like Bullock said, Christmas is far and away the most beautiful family holiday of the year. I mean, although you can make an argument about Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving to me is a very close number two. Christmas is far and away number one, in my opinion. And like Bullock said, it's not about presents or Santa Claus or the holiday movies and specials and Christmas cartoons on TV and all that. And certainly not the dinner with all the trimmings and everything else. Like Bullock said, it's not just about spending time with family, but it's also spending time with family, friends, basically any loved ones that you have. That's what it's all about. And I'm at the age now where I feel that it's better to give than to receive, honestly. I mean, even though I do enjoy getting presents, I do appreciate them, yes. But honestly, there's just something about giving presents and seeing, the joy and happiness on others' faces, there's nothing like it. So whether it's a card or a gift of any sort, that's all that matters. That's what it's all about. And that's what makes this holiday the most beautiful family holiday of the year. Thanksgiving, number two. When I say number three is Easter. Those, to me, are the three most beautiful family holidays of the year. As simple as that. And like Bullock said, on behalf of all of us here at the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports, we want to wish all of you out there a very merry and very blessed Christmas on Friday. So there you go. So let's put the ball on this. So until Saturday night at time to be determined for our special Saturday night edition of NFL Saturday. You've been watching the special Tuesday night edition of the Wrestling Forum right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. So for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and of course in spirit the Hardcore Pipe on Derek Ferreira and the Cerebral Viper Michael Fletcher, it's ridiculously over Anthony Flair saying, the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Force style. Have a great rest of the week, and of course, a very merry and blessed Christmas on Friday. So, and until Saturday night for the return of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday, even though it's going to be a brief one, you've been watching this very special Tuesday night edition of the Wrestling Forum right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. And for now, ridiculously over Anthony Florio and the Phenom Michael Bullock. So long, and very merry and blessed Christmas to all of you out there.